Let's put the spotlight on budget expectations. Manufacturing is the area of focus, area of discussion today. Rajeev Singh, partner, core business operations at Deloitte, is joining us. Rajeev, afternoon. Let's put in context. Manufacturing, clearly we have seen some push coming in various sectors in the form of PLI from the government side. But to help our viewers understand the significance of manufacturing overall in the economy.
Well, thanks a lot. See, I think this is one of those sectors which we always say has a multiplier effect on the economy. While say manufacturing contributes to only 17% of our GDP, the very important thing is that for every one job that gets created in manufacturing, we should recognize that there are three jobs at least which get created in the other parts of the economy. So that's the reason why manufacturing is so very important from an economy perspective, from a perspective of job creation, and also from a perspective of now more and more from a carbon footprint perspective as well. So given that the government's focus and the focus even globally on reducing the carbon footprint, I think that's another area that we need to keep in mind when we are talking about manufacturing, because it does contribute to the carbon footprint in a negative manner. And going ahead, it will be more and more important to ensure that manufacturing is more and more clean in that sense.
Right. I mean, we are reading annual reports of most of the manufacturing companies these days, and they have a very dedicated large section on green initiatives and carbon footprint, ESG, etc. But apart from the steps the government has already taken in the form of PLI, what else would you like to see? What are the manufacturers saying when you speak to them on ground as far as additional boost is concerned from the government side?
No, so of course the sector expects quite a lot, I must say, from the government. But let's also keep in mind that the sector has also taken a lot of beating in the recent times. Of course, COVID is something which has touched all the parts of the economy and including manufacturing. A lot of uncertainty arose because of COVID. Supply chains were hit. Materials were not coming to the plant on time. And while say the manufacturing companies got their heads around COVID, they got impacted by logistics because containers were not available in certain parts of the globe. And one after another, something or the other kept hitting manufacturing in that sense. So post that we had the situation which is around say commodity prices going up and so on, which a lot of manufacturing companies in the middle are taking a huge hitting currently. I think from a government perspective, as you rightly said, the government has taken a few steps towards making India more as Atmanirbhar Bharat. PLI was one of them, but along with that was also, I would say, the VSP scheme, which is the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme, which the manufacturing companies were very, very happy with, I would say, in some sense. But the expectations are still very, very large. Let's keep in mind that the number of people employed in manufacturing sector has actually drastically gone down in the last couple of years. While this sector used to employ close to about 45 to 50 million people, we are currently at just about 30 million people being employed in the manufacturing sector. And from a job creation perspective, the sector is extremely important. The sector does look at the government to say how do the government make it more easy for setting up new facilities, new manufacturing plants. Across the globe, we have seen that some of the countries have done very well with plug-and-play systems where you can get your entire infrastructure, plug it into the ecosystem and quickly start manufacturing. The ease of doing business, while a lot has been done, I think from a manufacturing perspective, still things around labor law, things around land laws, and so on and so forth, the sector does expect a few more things from as a support from the government. And of course, as we move towards making manufacturing more and more cleaner, I think we do look up to say that will there be some separate allocation for especially the MSME sector and also the large manufacturing companies to try and make their manufacturing green. Lastly, I think digitization is hitting all sectors, and manufacturing is also one of them. We do see a lot of movement towards digital manufacturing or smart manufacturing, as we call, where there is a lot of need for upgradation of skill of the people, apart from getting all the IoT devices and everything into their plants and so on and so forth. So a lot, I would say, is what the manufacturing sector is looking forward as support from the government.
Right. Rajiv, there is a lot of talk for digitization, automation in manufacturing companies. Some companies have taken the lead. What more can be done from the policymakers' side in order to get the workforce reskilled or upskilled? Because that is only what will add to productivity gains in these companies and hence in the overall economy.
So you are absolutely right. So what is happening is if every company decides to kind of do reskilling of people on their own, it's a massive and a Herculean task if you think about it, because reskilling is not required only at managerial level or leadership levels. It is required equally or even more, maybe at the level where people are working on the machines and so on and so forth. Now, what is needed is that can the government create some centers for training of people across different manufacturing hubs that exist in the country, and at each of these hubs, where the manufacturing plants which are there associated with that hub get their people trained. I think it's not just getting people trained also from your plant. I think also the number of people who are coming into the manufacturing as new people who are getting added, whether they are through the ITI colleges, or whether they are through various kinds of diploma courses that they do, or various kinds of vocational programs which are being run. The need of the hour is that across all these institutions, we need to upgrade themselves or their learning on the digital curve all across. So that is what I think would be a big benefit from a manufacturing perspective on upgrading or upskilling the people.
Rajiv, lastly, I have to talk and scratch that point which earlier touched upon, that is reducing the carbon footprint among the manufacturing companies. Uh, how can the government also make a further steps in the direction of making a cleaner kind of a manufacturing processes across sectors?
No, rightly said. See, I think we have to try and understand that a company by itself will not be able to do much unless and until there is a policy which helps manufacturing as a sector to become cleaner. To begin with, there are I mean, you can begin from many sides, but I'm just beginning say with one of the things, which is energy. And how do you ensure how does the government ensure that manufacturing companies get a cleaner share of the energy? There are a lot of manufacturing companies, for example, who require heating within the plant to be done, and they could have kilns, they could have furnaces, and so on and so forth. How does one ensure that the fuel that they use is something which is a clean fuel, so that emissions are comparatively lower from the manufacturing plants? Some of the manufacturing plants also end up generating a lot of waste which needs to be disposed adequately. There's a lot of energy which goes behind in terms of managing the entire effluent or the effluent treatment plants, for example, that some of them may have. Now, these are some of the areas I would say where probably one needs to touch upon, but we also need to think about some of the manufacturing companies which end up being more polluting in nature as compared to the others, but they are also equally important from an overall country and an economy perspective. So the choice is that if we can pick up some of these subsectors within manufacturing and also work in terms of upgrading their processes to make them more environment friendly, ensure that the investments which need to be made in these upgrading some of these processes comes in as soft investments at a lower interest rate and so on. I think that is what the will significantly help in terms of manufacturing sector becoming more cleaner. Otherwise, we are already seeing pollution at so many cities across the country. We are already hearing news over the last so many years now. We will unfortunately otherwise get caught more and more into it unless and until there is a collective effort put together to ensure that the manufacturing becomes clean.
Right. All right, Rajiv, we'll let you go on that one. Thanks so much for sharing your thoughts on what the government can actually take in terms of additional measures in the manufacturing space. With that,